Is this a huge bear trap that could push this price action and these risk on assets, which includes Bitcoin, which is still the driver of this crypto markets, as well as the altcoins to newer highs? Now, I'm going to be talking about this huge bear trap that a lot of people may not notice. Is this so I'm talking about the stock market here, the ES1 exclamation mark, which is the S&P 500 futures. Okay. Now, this is very subtle because I don't see anyone talking about it. And what I'm talking about here is this: a rising wedge pattern on the daily time frame, which I talked about. I've been talking about it, and if I said that if the stock market actually breaks down from this pattern, that could be very bad for the crypto markets because they have high correlation. However, as of yesterday's market close, take a look at this. This is a rising wedge pattern, and basically the bears try to break down from this pattern, and the bulls bought it right back up, back into the pattern right now. That is a classic bear trap because the bears try to break down and it was unsuccessful. And this is huge because of the correlation between this and crypto. Could this be a huge signal before some crazy bullish price action here? We're going to be taking a look into the Bitcoin chart, of course, as well as some altcoin setups that I think you guys will be very interested in. I'm going to be talking about AIOZ Network, as well as Zentry, ZENT, and COTI, COTI USDT, and see what's going on in these markets. Take a look at their current setups and what their price targets are for some of these smaller altcoins. Let's go ahead and get into some news first, some major economics news that is going to be critical for this September and, of course, the Q4 here. All right, first piece is going to be by Crypto Potato. Bitcoin price warning sign. Bitcoin whales start selling before Fed cuts. I think at this, I think right now, we have to take a look into what's happening in the altcoins as well, right? Because it could be that the Bitcoin whales are selling and buying altcoins. So now I have this setup on, right? I have the total crypto market cap, which is actually up more than Bitcoin. And then we have Bitcoin dominance down, Ethereum up way more than Bitcoin at about 3.5%. I am actually looking to get into a long position for Ethereum after this. I am going to be looking for an opportunity and a appropriate time to get into Ethereum long as of right now. But of course, these are just what I'm doing personally and not financial advice. Okay, like the rest of this video is just my opinions. I am long on Bitcoin. I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here. So of course, my opinion on this market is bullish. But at some point, I will change my opinion because no cycles last forever. Have you guys been here for the last maybe a year or two? You guys will probably start to get to know that. No pumps last forever, no dumps last forever, no sideways price action lasts forever. Even though we've been in quite a bit of a strange bull cycle here. Now let's go ahead and go to, so we see Ethereum up over 3%, total 3, catching up, just up over 0.7%, but I think it's going to catch up. If you guys don't know what I talked about on the total 3 in the altcoin charts, about when I think what to look for in terms of the alt season beginning again, because Bitcoin broken back into that 110K level, basically invalidating that start of the bull cycle. But I talked about more detail about this altcoin season in my last longer video. You guys should check it out from yesterday. Let's go ahead and go to Bitcoin here because it's sorry. We're staying on this news piece here. Okay. Warning signs. Okay, so let's just take a look into some key points that this news piece is talking about. Long-term Bitcoin holders show heavy activity historically seen near market tops or correction periods. Yeah, I still don't think this is. I disagree with this piece here. I still don't think we're near the top, based on the monthly RSI reading on Bitcoin, because we're still nowhere near those 2021 and 2017 FOMO RSI readings yet above 90. I think we still got some way to go based on the idea. Now, whale balances dropped to levels last seen in 2018, suggesting continued quiet distribution. I mean, I just look at the chart, right? I mean, just look at the chart. I still think we're pushing towards the top. We're nowhere near the top. Bitcoin breaks multi-week downtrend, but profit taking and whale exits raise short-term concern. I still think this is a rotation into altcoins. All right, next piece here is by the block. Neglected macro catalysts would trigger Bitcoin downside squeeze between below 100K in September. K33 warns. I mean, more bearish news here, but I am open to both sides of the argument. I keep an open mind. Let's just take a look here. Okay, so something I want to point out here is that Bitcoin says Bitcoin enters September on shaky ground as traders weigh the return of tariff pressures, okay, Newman U.S. economic data, and its historical tendency for weak performance this month, according to K33. I think those are kind of weak arguments because tariff pressures, that's going to refer to inflation, which affects the Fed rate cut decision that's happening this month, which is highly anticipated because this could be the restart of Fed rate cuts again. But let's just take a look into the Fed. Let's just cross-reference this, okay? This is the CME Watch tool, okay? As of today, we still have let's just refresh this real quick for you, okay? This has been very accurate in predicting and weighing the odds of a Fed rate cut. And what I'm seeing here is still a over 95% ease now. So that has increased since yesterday. So I think that's basically invalidates the return of tariff pressures. Looming economic data, I think it's referring to some CPI and PPI reports. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's coming up next week, but that would also that basically affect the Fed rate cut decision, right? So we just had an increase in Fed rate cut probability. So I think these 2 points here are very weak and may even be invalid unless something crazy comes out, right? That could affect the Fed rate cut probabilities. And its historical tendency for weak performance this month. Well, I'm not gonna bet on just the perspective, just the angle of being weak in September. I think a lot of it still depends on the trading pattern. If a good trading pattern arrives in September, then I think it's going to be a good September, regardless of um, you know, historical tendencies. That's just my opinion. Okay, you guys let me know, right? And if a weak trading pattern arrives in September, then yeah, then it's going to be a weak September. So let's go ahead and go to the next piece here. Next piece is by Crypto Potato. Bitcoin recovery in sight. Fear and greed index signals cautious optimism. Of course, I am more cautious. I am cautiously optimistic. Okay, on Bitcoin as well because it still looks bullish on the monthly time frame, but there are some mixed signals on the weekly time frame. Okay, so that's why. Next here is by Crypto News. Bitcoin ETFs pull $332 million in a day as Ethereum sees 135 million outflows. Rotation back into Bitcoin. It could be, but not today at least, because we're still seeing Ethereum bouncing back more than Bitcoin. So this could be a disconnect in the price action chart and the ETFs data. Our next piece here is also by Crypto Potato. And this one says Avalanche jumps 5% daily as Bitcoin price rises to 111K. Market watch. Yeah, so I did see some pretty good price action for Avalanche. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing more of Avalanche or AVAX. I did point out a bullish pattern that could be building up right now and could be signaling a move. So you can actually see my last Avalanche video I did about a week ago. Search through my channel. Okay. That is the levels and the pattern I'm watching out for. All right, let's come here to Bitcoin charts. Okay. Let's take a look here and see what we're dealing with. Okay, so given that S&P 500 bear trap. Okay, that could look pretty bullish for the crypto markets if the correlation continues here, right? Or intensifies here, right? Daily time frame is what my focus is for Bitcoin. I'm waiting for my chart to load, but this is basically a falling wedge pattern. Price target for this pattern would be about 121,000. Sorry, trading view is taking a little longer to load. Okay, so here it is. Falling wedge pattern. Broke out of it yesterday. Price target would be about 121,000 above that. Okay, that is a bullish signal on the daily time frame. However, on the weekly time frame, we are in a rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern. So this is why I am cautious as well. Because if Bitcoin breaks down here, this breakdown target is about almost 75,000. Okay, so something to be paying attention to. That's why I'm cautiously optimistic, because on the monthly time frame it still looks good to me, but on this weekly time frame it is showing me a bearish pattern here. But even though it is a bearish pattern and it more likely breaks to the downside, there is still a smaller chance it breaks to the upside. And if it does break to the upside, that it would be very bullish for the crypto markets. Okay, let's go ahead and go to AIOZ Network and see what's happening in this market here. Okay, AIOZ Network currently trading at about 31 cents. Weekly time frame. Let's zoom out and see what AIOZ Network could be doing. Okay, I'm gonna wait for trading view to load. It's been a little slower, but bear with me here. So I think I should so no particular pattern here on this weekly time frame, but it could be building up some type of a rounded bottom. Probably on the monthly time frame where you see higher highs and higher lows since this bottom here, what it looks like at least. And if the rounded bottom, probably on the monthly time frame, more noticeable. If the rounded bottom continues up to about, let's just say, the previous resistance here was at about $1.35. Let's just say that to be a rounded number, where this got rejected last time. But if it actually comes up here to retest $1.35, it could form some type of a cup and handle, but it's still too far away to say right now. But let's take a look into the daily time frame. Daily time frame here, falling wedge pattern. Price targets for this pattern here would be about, let's just say if it breaks out by this point, for example, price target would be about almost 60 cents AIOZ Network. Now, it is towards the bottom of the pattern, and this pattern has a higher chance of breaking to the upside, but of course, it still has a smaller chance of breaking down as well. So you just got to consider both the upside and downside probabilities, right? And price targets are estimates only. It is not 100% it's going to get there, right? It could be more, it could be less. Very much depends on Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin starts dumping, these altcoin setups not going to be worth much. Let's go ahead and go to COTI, COTI. See what's happening in this market here. Let's take a look into the weekly time frame. Weekly time frame for COTI. which is currency of the internet. Okay, now this is a falling wedge pattern. Okay, price target for this pattern. Let's just say if it breaks out here, for example, price target would be about just above 30 cents here. Price targets. Now, quite a bit of resistance on this weekly time frame along the way, including your weekly 21 SMA at about 6.2 cents, weekly 50 SMA at about 8.4 cents, weekly 200 SMA at about 11 cents. Some things to be paying attention to. Let's take a look into the daily time frame here. Daily time frame. I talked about a falling wedge pattern last time that broke to the upside. Okay. And it's still a valid, so let's see if it's still a valid breakout. No, this is not a valid breakout anymore because it broke out of it. Price target was about 6.8 cents. However, it did go as far up as about 6.4 cents, short of the price target. And this actually gets invalidated before 6.4 cents because we get a candle close on this daily time frame back into the pattern, so that invalidates the pattern. So what could COTI be doing right now is it has also formed another falling wedge pattern here. And price target for this pattern would be about 6.3 cents if it breaks out by this point, for example. So let's see if COTI can actually reach this price target before trying to break out of this bigger falling wedge pattern. Let's go ahead and go to Zentry, which is ZENT USDT, which is up pretty big today. I mean, in my opinion, not very big. I mean, it's 40%, but for a small altcoin, this is ranking like almost 400, which is, I mean, there's going to be more upside, but there's also going to be more downside as well when things start going south. Okay. There is a time and place to be trading these smaller altcoins, and right now I'm cautious. I'm mostly looking into opportunities for leverage positions on bigger altcoins like Ethereum. I am long on quite a bit of of smaller altcoins as well from times when I opened positions on some of these smaller altcoins when I thought it was appropriate. Right now, I am still looking for some smaller altcoin opportunities, but mainly in larger altcoins. Okay, leverage positions. Now let's go ahead and go to Zentry here. Now Zentry, what could be doing? Weekly time frame. Weekly time frame. Falling wedge pattern. Price target, if it breaks out here, for example, price target would be above 6 cents price target. Let's see if Zentry can get there. There's going to be the weekly 50 SMA that's going to be resistance. Why are resistances important to recognize? It's because that's where traders look to take profits. Okay, you're probably going to see a pullback here when it hits about 1.6 cents. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be exactly 1.6 cents where you see a pullback, but I mean, chances are you're not going to get a weekly candle close above the weekly 50 SMA on the first try, at least, right? And let's take a look into a shorter time frame. What is going on with Zentry on a shorter time frame? On the shorter time frame here, 4 hour time frame, it looks like this could have been a cup and handle, but it looks like it was really trying to break out of here. So this cup and handle idea gets invalidated. And I don't see a particular pattern here, but there is going to be some pretty overbought oscillators readings, RSI readings, which tells me that this could be pulling back, at least in the shorter term. Okay. So this is basically what I'm seeing for some of these altcoins in the macro markets as a whole. I'll tell you guys when the situation evolves on a daily basis. And if you guys want to continue seeing any more of these altcoins or any other altcoins in this market, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe. I'll pick a request to do for you guys on a daily basis. I'll